Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. I thought I would turn on the camera today because I came up with an idea this morning or something occurred to me and I thought I want to see what you guys think about it. So I got a question for you. Are you suffering from project fatigue? No, hear me out. This is what I was thinking of this morning. I was taking a shower, and do you really get these ideas when you absolutely cannot do anything about them? Maybe you're washing the dishes or you're taking a shower, or you're driving, and you come up with this great idea like, I want to make this thing now. And you can't do it because, you gotta finish up your shower, then you gotta go walk the dog, and then you gotta do this, that, you gotta go to work, you gotta, do these things that's gonna prevent you from doing the thing right now. But you've been inspired and you have this idea and you want to do it. And then when you have the time to do it, you just don't feel like it. It just seems like a big ordeal and you don't want to deal with it. But you want to be creative, you want to be productive, you want to do something, but it's just very unappealing when you have the time to do it. And I think we are collectively suffering from project fatigue. Does any of this ring a bell? So the other day, I was working on finishing up this project that I had been procrastinating on for so long. It was this, well, I can show you. I showed it in Sat Chat last week, but it was this, this box here this baby keepsake box that I was making for a friend, and it was in a Harry Potter theme. And I knew there was going to be some painting involved, and I knew there's going to be some collage involved. And so it was going to have many different parts and many different stages that I had to go through. And I was finding that also very overwhelming. If it was just to paint the box, or if it was just to collage the box, I think it would have been less overwhelming. But the fact that I was going to do this and then that and then this, and then there were so many possibilities of what I could use and what I could make, it just made me kind of just overwhelmed. And I think if you're like me and you've been creating, you've been crafting, you've been painting, you've been doing all of these hobbies for a long period of time, you have a lot of stuff. And when you sit down to do a project, you want to use the most perfect supplies for your project, and then it becomes overwhelming. And also, I think added to this is we have just, and I say this as an American living in America, where life has gone back to normal for the most part, we've come through the pandemic, and I think we've been maybe we started a lot of projects, maybe we took up a lot of different hobbies, and then just the thought of doing that again is maybe either overwhelming, or we just kind of feel like, no, we've done that, we want to go do something else, we want to get out, we want to see, we want to do, we just don't want to be doing our projects anymore. And part of the reason that kind of had been, that my brain had been going down this tangent was that I've been noticing that my how-to videos, my just general tutorial videos have not been doing very well. I've noticed them declining. And the videos that are more like just chatting to the camera, talking about stuff, or simpler projects like a quick watercolor tutorial, a quick crafting tutorial, a quick tip, those quick videos and like the Sat Chats are doing really well. And I think part of it is because people are tired and they can turn on a podcast, or they can turn on a Sat Chat, or they can watch a haul video, or they can watch a product review and not feel obligated to make a product themselves. And I think, like I notice myself, like sometimes I'm just feeling overwhelmed and I do not want to watch like a how to speak French video, or a how to crochet video, or a how to do this specific product video, because it's like, I'm not doing that project. If I watch that, I feel like I should be doing that. Or even a cooking video. If I watch that, I feel like I should be doing that, and I don't feel like doing that. Just give me something I can listen to while I go about my own, exercising or cleaning or crafting or whatever I'm doing. Just give me something I can listen to while I'm doing that. And I think that's why hauls are doing so well, and why they've been doing so well for so long. It just doesn't give you you don't feel like you have to do anything to be able to enjoy that content or watch that content. So we were hanging around yesterday, and my son was over, and we were talking about the different things, like the different streaming services, and how not really watching anything anymore. I've got one show that I've been I've been watching. I want to take it to the end, because I'm watching it on Showtime. It's the show Dexter, and I'm like, I want to get to the end of that series because it's the only thing I'm watching on Showtime. Then I can just cancel that subscription. And we were kind of talking, it's like, yeah, I'm not watching anything on Netflix, not watching anything on HBO, not watching anything on, all these different things. And my son was like, yeah, I hardly watch anything. There's very, very few YouTube videos I watch, and if I put something on, it's just because I want the noise in the background. I'm not really actively watching anything. And I think tutorials give you that kind of pressure, I should be making this if I'm watching this tutorial. So I just thought that was really interesting. And then I think, well, how can I bring inspiring content to people where they might not want to make the project, but they maybe want something that's just kind of maybe spark an idea, or spark some inspiration, so then they will want to go on and get out their materials and do stuff. So when I was making that box the other day, I was going through all my papers, which I did declutter a bunch of them about 4 or 5 years ago, but I kind of kept the stuff I really loved and thought I would use, but still I had a lot. And I was going through my papers looking for something that would be kind of like schooly looking, kind of like dark academia type looking, and I was looking in this section. I have my stuff kind of grouped literally like loosely by theme, and so like I have a section that would be like kids school or something like that, and I like more vintagey looking school things, so I know I probably would find something there. But in that stack I also found these really brightly colored kind of rainbowy papers. I'm like, those would be so fun for birthday cards. And I'm like, I want to make birthday cards right now. But it's like, I can't make birthday cards right now because I'm working on this project. And it's almost like we get sparked by these inspirations when we can't really do anything about it because our time is already committed to these other things. So, but then when I have the time, it's like the project fatigue sets in. It's like, I don't want to, if I start that, if I bring those papers out to my table, that means I got to go find stamps to go with it. And I got to go find mediums to color or ink pads or this or that. And it just turns into like a whole big thing. And I seem to be happiest when I'm working in a sketchbook, because I'll take my sketchbook. This is a sketch I just did the other day, and a pack of markers, or maybe a pack of markers and a little set of color pencils, or I'll just grab my sketchbook and some media and go either outside or go to the deck or go to the couch and put on a show I was watching, or just go on the porch. I can take it with me, I can go for a drive, I can sketch what I'm seeing out in the world, and it just seems like I've reduced the amount of supplies, the amount of options I have, and therefore I can be more productive and I don't get that project fatigue. I also think that when we've started projects, I know a lot of us started so many different hobbies and projects over the pandemic. When we start these projects and we don't finish them, then they're like a weight on us. I felt very light after I finished that box, and I didn't even realize, like, I'd kind of forgotten about it. It had been sitting on a shelf. I had started it and got the base coating all done, got all the decoupaging inside done, and it just sat there, and I kind of forgot about it. But I didn't really forget about it because subconsciously it was there on my shoulders. If you've got a stack of fabric in the corner of your studio, if you've got a basket with yarn in it in your living room with a half-finished project, if you have a half-done scrapbook and a bunch of photos sitting in a drawer, you might not even see these things, and even if they're in the open, you may have just kind of become clutter blind to them, but emotionally and psychologically, I think they are a weight on your shoulder, and it's almost like you either want to finish them up, and then you have the satisfaction, and then like it erases any shame you have for owning those supplies or buying those supplies or starting that project. Like, who do you think you are starting that project? Did you really think you could build a whole scrapbook? Or did you really think you could knit that whole sweater? We get these voices in our head that that when we don't finish a project, they're saying, see, I knew you wouldn't finish that. Look at that. It's just sitting there. You proved me right. We had that negative self-talk, and it doesn't matter how accomplished you are or how productive you are. Everybody has that voice in the back of their mind that kind of berates them for not finishing what they start. And when we have these little piles of started projects, as innocent enough as they are, because we started every project we start, we think we're going to finish. We have those sitting around, and they're just kind of being reminders of our fantasy selves or our failures. And I think that's kind of why this project fatigue settles down on us. And if you're somebody that's been creating for a long time, I've always been drawing and painting and creating, and I swear there's not a hobby. Well, there are hobbies that I'm like, yeah, this is not for me, but I enjoy so many different hobbies and so many different projects that when you let them build up and you start things and you don't finish them, it can definitely wear on you and kind of feel like a pressure coming down on you that either finish it or just get rid of it, make a choice here. So I was wondering, are you suffering from project fatigue? And that's one of the things, like, it's been puzzling me for years, is like, how come if I do a haul video, which I don't do very often, because honestly, I feel kind of gross, doing a haul video, but sometimes like there's been some projects I want to start, and then I'll watch back at that haul video. So, didn't finish that, didn't do that, didn't do that, didn't do that, never use that, and then I feel extra gross because I bought those things and didn't use them. But then I do enjoy watching, like I watched a video today where a woman was going through to all these different little shops in Japan, these different little stationery stores and art supply stores and crafting stores, and I was drinking my coffee, getting ready for the day, just watching that, and I found that very enjoyable. Why? because I'm never going to buy those things. I'm never going to even see those things. It's something totally new and different. And maybe it will spark an idea of something I want to do in my studio. But most of all, I'm watching this because this is something else that somebody else did, somebody else bought. I don't feel bad about buying it because I didn't buy it, but I can enjoy the fact that they bought it, and I can watch them swatch it out. I think it's very, like, there's no completed project at the end. I don't have to feel guilty that I'm taking in this information and not doing anything with it, and I'm just kind of enjoying it. So I can see why people do enjoy content like that. They do enjoy hauls. Like, I did a haul. I don't know if you'd really call it a haul. It was stuff I recently purchased that I had upcoming to review. And I filmed that, and it was like out of that month or that few weeks or whatever, that was my most popular video. But it did help me organize my thoughts and get a bunch of those reviews filmed that I intended to do. I still have a couple baskets over there with different stuff sorted out to film the reviews on, but it did make me organize my brain and get everything in there. But anybody watching that, they had no obligation to do anything or to finish a project or to do what I was making. It was just kind of just like, no, I can sit back and see what she spent her money on, so I don't have to spend mine. And that's fine. And I think, and I just think I needed to really recognize what is going to inspire people. And it's probably not a tutorial. It's probably more like maybe like a quick technique or a quick tip, or maybe it's a speed paint. I don't know. I guess I'm really no further along figuring out what people like, but maybe I am further along in figuring what I like and what I want to do and how I want to spend my time and what I want to work on. For me right now, it's sketchbooks. That's why I started the Sketchbook Floozy Challenge, because I have so many sketchbooks. I'm a floozy for sketchbooks, and people ask me, why'd you call it that? Like, that's such a derogatory name. It's like, no, it's not. Take it back. Take the power back. It's only negative and derogatory if you are using it in that way. Words change meanings, and I think it's funny to think of, like, having these affairs with all these different sketchbooks and painting in this one and then that one, but then using them up is actually the goal here is to finish up and fill up those sketchbooks, all those sketchbooks we started. So it's kind of like taking the pressure off and the shame away from having all of these started projects, and kind of flipping the script and making it so, yeah, we bought all these because we thought they would be fun to use. We like to try different things and kind of embrace that and not feel like we have to be committed to finishing one sketchbook before we start the other one, or feel like we have to be committed to finishing every single project we start. Just sketchbooking is so... I don't even know if sketchbooking is an ad. Well, I'm making it one now. Sketchbooking is just so... immediate and low pressure, and the thing I love about it is that when I paint a painting, especially if I'm doing a larger painting and it's on canvas, I have to I finish the painting, then it's like I gotta varnish the painting, then I need to frame the painting, or if it's on a stretch canvas I can just put a wire on it, but then I gotta find a place for the painting. Either that, or it's like with all my dozens of other paintings that are kind of shoved up behind my pinball machine in my basement, collecting dust, probably getting mildew or whatever, spiders. It's becoming a spider habitat. Where it's a sketchbook, there's no pressure. I finish the picture and then it's done. What are you going to do with it? It's done. It doesn't have to be done. Nothing has to be done with it. I don't have to sell it. I don't have to find somebody to buy it. I don't have to, like, hope somebody wants a print of it. No, it's in there. It's done. End of story. Maybe I've done a video on it. I've shared it online. It's maybe somebody will hire me to illustrate their cookbook one day. I don't know. But it's done. It's done its purpose. I've enjoyed it. And it just seems like it's way less pressure and way less commitment. So hence Sketchbook Floozy. And people seem to be inspired by that. I think that is, and everybody is welcome to join. Everybody's welcome to join. There are prompts I post on Instagram and the YouTube community tab and on my blog. And anybody can join. You can either do my reference photos, you can maybe find something that inspires you. Maybe it's the fact that, a way that I've broken up a layout. Maybe it's the way that I've done a 2-page spread. Maybe it's the way that I've used shadows. Maybe it's the medium that I've used. Whatever, just find something that will light that fire in you, that inspiration in you, and get you into that flow state and get you creative. And I think that's another thing. A lot of those videos that that I watch, I'll put on in the background. They're not necessarily project videos. They may be like a video essay. They may be something sciencey. It's like, it may just be information. It's like, yeah, oh, there's information. I know the information. I don't need to act on that information. I'm not a climate scientist. I'm not going to go fly in the clouds and spray things in the clouds, but I want to know about it. I want to know about geoengineering. I'm not going to do geoengineering. I don't feel obligated or qualified to do geoengineering, thank goodness. but it's fun to know about, you know? So and sometimes it's videos like that just can play in the background that can kind of like trick you into your flow state. And by flow state, I mean, some people might call it being inspired or finding the muse or going to your right brain, switching into the right brain mode. But what it is when you kind of get into a project and time seems to stop. You have no idea how much time has passed. You don't get hungry. You don't get thirsty. You just keep working because you are in that flow and everything is coming easy to you. And, you know, you just really, it's a sheer joy that we always want to recreate it when we come into the studio, but it's very hard when you always have to stop and like, oh, I need to get that thing, or I need to stop. If you're watching like a how-to video and you're trying to follow along, it can be very hard to get into that flow state because you have to keep stopping and look for the next bit of information, then go again. And that back and forth can really interrupt the flow. So, I don't know, I would like to bring things out that can unlock the flow state in other people. And maybe that's going to be like a craft with me live card making video. Maybe that's going to be a time lapse of a sketchbook. Maybe it's going to be, I don't know, maybe it's going to be a sketch with me. Maybe I'll do something like that once the kids are back in school next week. Maybe I will start doing a live weekly sketch along. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What would benefit you as a artist or a crafter? Just let me know. I mean, maybe I'll implement it. I'm not going to put the pressure on myself that I'm going to do everything that everybody suggests, but I'd love to get a feel for like the zeitgeist out here and what people are needing, because we all want to be creative. But a lot of us will go days, weeks, months without picking up a paintbrush or a crayon or a pastel or glue or scissors or whatever it is we work on. And I've had a lot of people in Sat Chat say, like, I'm a card maker. I started watching you for card making, but I watch a Sat Chats now. Sometimes I'll put something like a swatching video on in the background. And another person said they swatch along with me. When they have paints to swatch, they put on one of my swatching videos, which I think swatching videos, how boring is that? People must put that on to fall asleep to. But there may be just something comforting in that. Like, to some people watch the ASMR videos and there's just something comforting in that to them. And YouTube's a crazy thing, and it's always evolving and changing. Maybe not, I don't even want to say evolving, because I don't necessarily think that a haul video is an evolution upon a like how to, you know, fix your carburetor video. You know, it's like I don't necessarily think consumption is an evolution to education, but I also feel like I need to meet people where they're at and help them, you know, ride that tide of creativity. When sometimes you just want company, you don't want advice, you don't want to be told what to do, you just want to have somebody next to you in the room. You just want to have that community. And so I don't think it's necessarily bad that people are preferring to watch haul videos or reviews over a tutorial. I just think it's meeting people where they are. And if you are so fatigued if you've got so much project fatigue, so much information overload, that might be just kind of enjoyable just to kick back with your cup of coffee or cup of tea and just watch somebody else do something for a while, or see what else, be nosy and see what else somebody else bought, or, you know, I don't know. What is this? What is life? All this is to say, I am opening my mind to the fact that people want different stuff. And I watched a video this Friday. I think it was Friday or Saturday. I don't know, but I think it was Friday. It was in between. I'd had kind of a disappointment, and I was watching this video, and I clicked on it because the title was "The Reason You Will Never Meet Your Full Potential." And I'm like, well, I would love to know why I'm not going to meet my full potential. Then maybe I can meet my full potential. And then this presenter, she was talking about, I think she went to like an Ivy League school, and she had done all the right things. It was super productive, super achieved, and everything, high achiever. And she said, because everybody has a fatal flaw, and they usually can't see their own fatal flaw. And she talks about you've probably all heard the adage, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. And that is me right there. It's when I first started this channel 13 years ago, I was doing tutorials, craft tutorials, card making tutorials. And then like, I think around 2011 or 2012, I started doing watercolor tutorials, easy watercolor tutorials. And I was doing daily stuff, and I just kept repeating and repeating and repeating, and I grew for about 6 or 7 years, and then I plateaued, then I started to decline, even though I was still doing the same thing I've been doing that helped me grow. That same thing wasn't working anymore. But then I'm like, no, I'm still gonna do the same thing. It'll catch back up, the algorithm will switch back, and it'll work again. But it never did work again, but I kept doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting that to work. So I think, there's the old adage, if you can't beat them, join them, but I don't think that's it. I mean, I'm not going to go start buying a bunch of stuff just to do haul videos. I think that I think I need to more dig into what I have and explore it further, and maybe stop the influx a little bit more and start, and that's where the sketchbook comes in. Pick up the sketchbook and grab a supply you haven't used in a while. Get to know your materials better rather than just looking for new, because you know what? I've just noticed there is no new, there's only more. And when you try to come up with something new, I'm trying to come up with something new, and hopefully it'll happen, but I've got something new that I'm trying to bring into production. But a lot of everything is just, it's not new, it's just more. It's not, you're not going to find a new set of colored pencils that's going to be better than the colored pencils you already have in general. If you have ooh, that was unpleasant noise. If you have a set of colored pencils from a legacy brand, Derwent, Caran d'Ache, Faber-Castell, those pencils are going to be great. You're not going to go on Amazon and find some 300 set of pencils that's going to be better than that. It's just going to be more, and it might even be a lower quality, but it's going to be more. Just like you can get a dozen tubes of watercolor and mix anything you want, and yet more watercolor keeps coming out in bigger sets and new colors, new mixes. It's not better, it's just more. It's just more choice, more options. And all of this choice and options, I think, are contributing to our fatigue. We were talking about Netflix the other day, in this conversation that I was having with my son and my husband, and we were talking about back in the day before streaming, we had Netflix, and those DVDs would come in the mail, and we couldn't wait to watch them. There wasn't like spending 2 hours trying to decide what to watch. You spent 2 hours watching the thing that you paid and ordered, so you could get it back in the mail, so you could get your next things on your list to you. Do you remember that? If you're old enough for the original Netflix before streaming, and so we thought about what we made intentional choices. And because you could only have 3 at a time, so you made very intentional choices. Like when I grab my supplies and I take them outside, or I go drive somewhere to go sketch in plein air or urban sketch or do something like that, I make an intentional choice of just a couple things, because I can only bring a couple things. I'm not going to be hiking up on the top of a mountain with my whole studio on my back. I am a light packer. For as much of the mayhem and hoard I have here, I'm a very light packer. I'm a very light packer when I travel. I'm a very light packer when I go to paint. It's funny because Sketchbook Floozy, I have the room of hoard, but if I say it fast, it sounds like the room of hoard. Crafty hoard. I'm totally going to get this video restricted to 18 plus. But yeah, I think that's funny. People mishear that all the time. But anyway, it reduces those options and it makes you more creative. So back when we used to get our Netflix DVDs, or we'd go to the movie rental store and we would rent a movie, we'd come home and we'd watch that movie. We wouldn't come home with that movie we just rented. Well, let's see what's on TV and flip through a bazillion things we don't want to watch and then decide to put the movie in. We made a choice, and we watched the thing, and then we spent our time wisely, and we still had time left over. We didn't put something on TV and then scroll on our phones and tap on our laptop and think about what we're going to watch next instead of actively doing something. I feel like so much of our time now is and I think it's because we're overwhelmed by too much choice, and we have fatigue from all of this choice. And instead of actually committing to something, like I'm going to do a project right now, I'm going to pick 3 things and I'm going to work on that. I'm going to look at something, I'm going to draw it. I'm going to find a challenge online, I'm going to do it. Instead of that, I think we're like, well, I don't know if I want to commit to that. That's going to take me an hour to do. Instead, we spend an hour trying to decide what we want to do. So I want you to think about that. Are you suffering a fatigue? It was funny. My husband, he had been bit by a tick and had anaplasmosis, and we didn't know what it was. We took him to the emergency care, and on the paperwork said patient came, what's like symptoms, it said patient came in suffering a fatigue, and I looked at that, I'm like, I have a fatigue. So like I've been saying, I have a fatigue. I'm suffering from a fatigue. I've been saying that all week because I think that's so funny to put it that way. But he's all better, by the way. I'm not making fun of my husband. But I'm making fun of that's what they put in for a for a diagnosis. He's suffering of fatigue. I am suffering of fatigue. Are you suffering of fatigue? I think we're all suffering of fatigue, and the antidote to the fatigue is to just pick something and go. Pick something and just do it. And yeah, it might be grabbing a set of markers, maybe it's something new, maybe it's something old, and just saying, I'm going to use this. And I think what helps is that when I take the sketchbook and I take the set of crayons, or I take the set of markers, or I take the watercolor set, I physically leave my space so I don't have all these options that are going to overwhelm me. And that might be a tip that can help you if you are suffering from that. Maybe you always used to love to cross stitch and you've got like 10 projects started and you don't know what to do. Take one of those projects and go sit outside, go to a park, go take it into your living room and maybe put a movie on and just finish up that project, or work on that project till it's done. You've eliminated a decision. If that's the one thing sitting in a basket in your living room, and there's not a basket of yarn, and there's not a stack of to-be read library books, there's not all those things distracting you and making you feel bad, then you can concentrate on that. You can finish it. Then you've got the ta-da moment. I always say make a ta-da list at the end of your day. What did you do today? Make that ta-da list. And instead of a to-do list, because a to-do list can feel overwhelming, and if we don't check everything off, we feel less than, where we look at our to-do list, we can feel great because these are things we already did, and they could be small things. They could be like, well, I took the dog for a walk, and I washed the dishes, and I folded the laundry, or I did and these are things that you never even would put on a to-do list because they're just kind of your autopilot things, but it feels good to have them done, and then you can, like, oh yeah, I did that, and also I think maybe taking those impulses you feel and acting on them. Like yesterday, I've been wanting to clean the living room closet for so long, and yesterday I'm just like, you know what, I'm doing it, and I just started pulling everything out before I could talk myself out of it and say that's going to take too long, it's going to be a big pain, I'm going to get filthy doing that. I just did it. And I think that's what we need to do with our creativity, because we love our art, we love our hobbies. Just jump in and do them and try to avoid the project fatigue. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.